Phoenix is growing, and as it continues to extend to 500 square miles, different areas of the city are developing with widely different needs. The urban village concept is designed to help each community meet those needs and to cultivate their differences. Urban villages strive to make people aware that they are part of a unique area, to develop a sense of pride and community within the larger confines of Phoenix. These distinct districts have been around for years, even before the term urban villages was coined. In fact, members of urban villages were an integral part of writing the city's general plan after the Planning Commission appointed them in the early 1980s. The City Council took over official appointment of the village planning committees after adopting the general plan in 1985. Today, every village planning committee member has to be a resident of Phoenix. 75% of the committee members have to live in the village they represent, and up to 25% of them can work full-time in the village while living elsewhere in the city. The villages are usually based along naturally occurring borders, such as canals or mountains, and are made up of many neighborhoods. As an urban village committee member, you represent the needs of people in your community. Your skills as a committee member are critical in effectively shaping the future of your urban village.
I think they're critical to the process. When you really look at the city of Phoenix and look at the zoning cases that finally make it all the way to the council, most of the cases get worked out really at the village planning committee level. There are the exceptions, and we certainly understand that sometimes compromise can't be struck until it gets all the way to the council. But without them, I think we'd have a lot more controversial cases come forward, cases that would be insensitive to the existing community, how it's trying to evolve. What the village leaders do so well is kind of explain to the developer and property owner what the kind of the master plan is for the community from a community representative level.
Urban village meetings are a forum where citizens express their vision of the direction they want their community to take. You are responsible for conveying that vision to the Planning Commission and the City Council. Both have high expectations. The Urban Village Planning Committee acts as the initial point of contact between citizens and their government. Your Urban Village Planning Committee also fulfills a crucial role deciding which issues deserve to be heard. This means committee members must be able to address residents professionally, with a broad base of knowledge about your community, and a realistic understanding of the way government works.
What a neighborhood feels is vitally important to this neighborhood may look a little bit different when it's combined at the Village Planning Committee with all the other neighborhoods around it, and may look a little different again when it reaches the level of Planning Commission, where other legal concerns or precedents may be known that are not known at the Village Planning Committee. And the City Council, again, needs to take all those various opinions and reasons why they were made into consideration.
Before taking on this responsibility, you need to understand how an urban village works. It's based on 5 major components: the core, open spaces, neighborhoods, community service areas, and regional service areas. These are broad definitions of land use relationships you'll find in each urban village. The core is the central focus for each village, such as Paradise Valley Mall or Metro Center. It acts as a sort of downtown for the village. Next are the neighborhoods themselves. As the major land use for each urban village, the neighborhoods are primarily residential. Open spaces are important in creating an identity for the village and preserving the natural environment. Most Phoenicians can quickly identify open spaces such as in Cano Park or Camelback Mountain with the urban village in which they're located. Community service areas have intense land use outside of the core. For instance, the core for the Paradise Valley Village is the Paradise Valley Mall, but the commercial center at 7th Street and Bell Road draws people from several neighborhoods, making it a community service area. Finally, regional service areas are places whose range of influence reach outside their urban village. Sky Harbor Airport or Desert Sky Pavilion are examples of regional service areas. The blend of these components gives each urban village its own flavor and character. Residents will choose to live, work, and play in the urban village that best suits their lifestyle. Your job is to enhance that lifestyle and to preserve the best features of the urban village you serve.
And in some areas, the important thing may be, as in my case, it was the trail system. For other people, it may be the density of the incoming zoning that is being built. In some villages, they're pretty much built out, and it's redevelopment that's important for them. So it's very important to identify what they feel is important, where their community should go, and then work on projects that deliver that difference.
With an understanding of how the land is used, you can begin to meet the specific responsibilities for each urban village committee. You'll be working on amendments to the city's general plan, changes in zoning maps, and changes in zoning ordinances. You'll help write area plans and develop specific plans. You are also responsible for promoting and protecting the character of your urban village, keeping up to date on planning issues, and reviewing needs for public facilities in the village.
Ahwatukee Foothills area is about 75,000 people. That's a good-sized town in most areas. And we really need to understand what's happening at the far west end versus what's happening out by the freeway, and how something that may occur at one end could have an impact down the road at the other.
Reviewing the city's general plan is a large part of the committee's responsibility, so it's important to have a good understanding of the goals outlined in the general plan.
Well, the general plan has guidelines that deal with job creation, with housing, both single and multifamily, variety of lot sizes, varieties of densities. We want to see things from starter homes to luxury homes.
While considering an amendment in relation to any of these issues, the Village Planning Committee needs to consider whether or not it supports the following goals: providing a balance of jobs and housing, creating residential, shopping, employment, recreation, and public uses in each village, developing a pedestrian-oriented core, providing a variety in cost and type of housing, locating schools, parks, shopping, and high-density uses close together to minimize the number and length of trips, promoting the unique character of each village, and strengthening existing neighborhoods. Understanding when and how to amend the general plan is also a critical element of the Village Planning Committee's responsibility. It's important to keep in mind that you cannot place stipulations on general plan amendments. That means site plan and design issues are only addressed at the zoning case level. In reviewing a general plan amendment request, as opposed to a rezoning request, the committee should focus on city and village-wide needs and impacts, changes in market conditions or transportation facilities since the plan's adoption, and impacts on public services, facilities, and the natural environment. Each suggested change to the general plan goes through a series of steps. The planning staff analyzes what area will be impacted by the amendment and what that impact will be. When the report is complete, the village planner will present the results to the Village Planning Committee. The Village Planning Committee then reviews the amendment and submits comments and changes to the Planning Commission at its 2 hearings. The committee, staff, and Planning Commission recommendations are then presented to the City Council. The City Council then votes whether or not to adopt the amendment. Village Planning Committees have the power to initiate general plan amendments. Desert View Village did so successfully.
We have a lot of equestrian people up in that area, and the current zoning plans, general plans that were set up in that area, changed it more to a residential type of area than a rural area. So to try and keep that rural feeling and equestrian type of atmosphere out in that area, it was decided that we needed to change the zoning from five homes per acre to 1 home per acre, which would definitely lower the densities in that area. And to do that, we definitely needed a general plan amendment.
Rezoning issues are another major responsibility of the urban village planning committees. In considering a rezoning request, you need to make sure it is consistent with what you already know about the goals of the general plan. Next, you have to consider the relationship of that area to its surroundings and determine how the zoning change would affect the community. Here are some questions to ask. Would a change support and strengthen the village? Could this request be accommodated by zoning in another location? Does this plan preserve and protect the natural environment? How does this affect transportation issues? How do residents feel about the request? Are there stipulations that the city can enforce to make the use compatible? What are the findings, positive and negative, about the request? Once all those questions are answered, village committee members need to be able to provide a written rationale for the decision. This golf course and housing site in South Mountain Village demonstrates many components of a well-planned project. It had originally been approved as a planned community and sparked a lively debate over the open spaces and housing density. It's a prime example of a time when understanding zoning issues was critical.
Are we abiding by the master plan, by the baseline master plan, the corridor? Are we going to complement possibly Ahwatukee and West Tempe per se? We look at our neighbors, and it did work out because there was a match. We did meet frequently about that particular development. It was really interesting to see how the developers worked with the community, how they sent out flyers and questionnaires. They had forums. They brought out the plans. They talked about the architectural designs. They talked about the environmental impact in that area.
In planning an urban village, providing a safe and balanced transportation system becomes a huge priority. Traffic and land use go hand in hand. Good planning includes a smooth traffic flow, which leads to more land development, and more land development leads to more traffic. Balancing the two is crucial because the results of the relationship can be spectacular or devastating. For instance, residential areas should discourage cut-through traffic, which can be done with narrow roads or dead ends. Attractive and safe streets encourage pedestrian traffic. Landscaping, lighting, and wide sidewalks set back from the curb help accomplish this. On the other hand, major roadways should encourage just the right traffic capacity. Roads that can hold more traffic than they'll get are wasteful, expensive, and can encourage unplanned development. But not enough capacity for traffic results in long waits at lights, congestion, frustration, and air pollution. That in turn leads to a lower level of service and a decrease in property values. A good balance and careful planning keep traffic and land use from becoming a vicious cycle. While all these issues, the general plan, zoning, land use, and transportation relationships, may seem a bit intimidating at first, serving as an Urban Village Committee member should not be overwhelming. Each committee has the full support of the planning department. A village planner is on hand at every meeting.
The village planner's role is to inform the committee about issues in the village, about changes in city policy and how the processes work, to educate them about their role and train them in the duties and responsibilities of a village planning committee member. The planner also helps facilitate reaching consensus on decisions that the committee has to make.
These staff members provide realistic advice regarding what to expect from developers, the marketplace, and land use when the Urban Village Planning Committee makes a recommendation. In turn, the Planning Commission and City Council members will listen to committee recommendations and provide feedback.
I always look forward to seeing the kind of response. Was it a unanimous decision? Was it a split vote? What kinds of conversation were held in relationship to what the Village Planning Committee saw? They are very, very critical for me personally, and I certainly know the other council members and the mayor, to be able to make sound, rational decisions.
Urban Village Planning Committee members need to remember that while they act as a liaison between residents and the City Council, they are also representatives of the city to members of the neighborhood. Keeping this in mind, the city has certain expectations from each Urban Village Committee. Most importantly, regular attendance. Without a majority of the whole present, the committee doesn't have a quorum and is at a standstill, and that sends the wrong message to everyone involved.
You have neighborhood groups who've taken their time out of their schedule to come and talk about an issue, and it's very frustrating to them, very frustrating to the applicant, and frustrating to other committee members who took their time to come to the meeting.
Secondly, members have to be sure they don't have any conflicts of interest. Definitions and examples of a conflict of interest are available in the ethics handbook the city provides and should be reviewed thoroughly. Members also have a responsibility to stay objective and be receptive to all viewpoints. You have to do what is best for the entire community and give consideration to all you've learned as a committee member. That means the best choices aren't always the most popular ones. Finally, conducting meetings professionally is a priority. Here, good manners are the rule.
People come to these meetings often very tense. Sometimes they're angry, they're scared. And if you treat them with fairness and politely and hear them out in full discourse, they leave knowing they have had their opportunity to truly present their side of the case.
While you'll have many responsibilities, you are also helping make important decisions for the city and your urban village.
It has served as a great mechanism for gathering information about what's happening downtown. It's also provided, I think, a real valuable mechanism so that the voices of the members of my community can be heard. When issues come up, I can not only take information back from the committee to my particular community, but I can also go to the committee with issues of concern or issues of support for things that are happening in the village.
Recently, the mayor and council have talked about open space for the total city in terms of its preserves program. That needed to have some review through all of the villages because it touched more than just one particular area. It's a good way for each department to come into the process and structure a presentation and have people who then go back to their community in terms of their neighborhood associations a lot of times or business groups, and the ripple effect of the word of mouth telling the story as to what's going on. It saves time, it's direct face-to-face information, and generally very high-level staff will attend these meetings and try to get the input so they understand what's going on with the citizenry.
The City of Phoenix has a wide array of materials to help make your job as an Urban Village Planning Committee member easier. Each committee member will be provided a copy of those sources, which should answer most questions. Among the things you'll receive are the Village Planning Committee Handbook, the General Plan for Phoenix, General Plan Amendment Procedures, an Ethics Handbook, a list of answers to common questions for board and commission members, and a zoning ordinance summary sheet. The Village Planner will always be available for any questions, and the Planning Department has a vast number of reference materials on hand to assist you. You have been selected for this important job because you have the many excellent skills and qualifications needed to represent your urban village. Thank you in advance for your meaningful contribution to making Phoenix a better place for all of us to live.